Crypto kids, welcome back to another video. The not Bitcoin, but Ethereum spot ETF got approved last night. So that was incredible. Today, we're going to be jumping into the price of Bitcoin. Apologies for the camera angle, trying to reconfigure things. But looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is doing something interesting. I just posted an update over on Telegram about an hour ago, and Bitcoin looks pretty bullish to me, but we do need to be cautious of two important things. But if those things do not happen, then Bitcoin should be on its way to the moon. And of course, I will talk through everything you need to know about the Ethereum ETFs. I've literally prepared an entire document here that we need to go over. So stay tuned, leave a like, subscribe. Turn on the notification bell, most importantly, to not miss out on these time-sensitive updates. But with that said, let's get straight into the price of Bitcoin, and then we can jump into the Ethereum approval. So looking at Bitcoin, on the 15-minute time frame, we're breaking above the crucial level of now support again at 69.2K, which we discussed, I believe, on yesterday's video. So we found rejection perfectly, literally to the dollar. We reversed a little bit, but now we're breaking above once again. So that is the 15-minute time frame. I've decided to also look at the 15-minute time frame in my TA. I usually never ever do that. And the reason is because there's so many clear formations like a Bart Simpson pattern here. We also had a very nice bear flag, which hit the target perfectly at 67K. So I've decided to now look at 15-minute time frames as a part of the analysis. Let me know in the description, in the comment section, if you look at the 15-minute or what other time frames do you usually trade Bitcoin on. So if we move to the daily time frame, we can see that clear bounce from that support range. We have two nice reversal candles. Hopefully, if the next candle starts trading above where we closed today, that could allow Bitcoin to try and test 71.4 once again. And this time it will be pretty weak. I mean, if we go back to history, we found support, we found resistance, and the more times you test a particular level of either support or resistance, then it becomes weaker every single time, increasing the chances of breaking it either towards the up or downside. So in this case, if we test it once again, I think Bitcoin will have a higher probability of going and breaking upwards. So that would take us to fresh new all-time highs. And to sum that theory up, we also have different indicators and oscillators giving us that bullish sense of momentum. What we can see is, I'm not going to go through this so much because we did go into it in detail on the last Bitcoin update, but we have the bull flag breaking out, Bollinger Band squeezing for the first time since February, essentially, of this year. Parabolic SAR confirmed the buy signal. We have Consensio flipping buy. I'm already all in into Bitcoin ever since 64.5K. I made a video when I was doing that, so massive congrats if you were also able to jump into a long position. The crucial level to watch out for is the upper Bollinger Band. So if we want to create new all-time highs, Bitcoin, just like we did back in February of this year, we need to break above the upper Bollinger Band and confirm a breakout, and then we should be able to head to that $90,000 target we have for this parabola. And if that happens, then of course we will all be very much happy. And apart from that, Consensio has flipped bullish on the daily time frame between the baseline and the conversion line. The Ichimoku cloud is bullish. Again, another bullish metric. And finally, the stochastic RSI, as you guys know, on the weekly time frame, has crossed bullish below the 20 line. And the last time this happened was on the 11th of September, and Bitcoin is up 155% since. So looking at all of the oscillators, and indicators and patterns that I usually analyze on a daily basis, I think like 90% of them are pointing into a bullish manner. So overall, I am pretty excited about Bitcoin. If we drop below 65 and go back into the cloud, then I think $56,000 would give us beautiful support. In the event that Bitcoin breaks below 56K, that's the point where I get, okay, maybe it's over for now. So yeah, this is the cloud that I'm watching. The conversion and the baseline is also important in terms of Ichimoku. Those would be the support areas which I would switch my TA bias and become bearish, but hopefully that will not be the case. Now going into Ethereum, Ethereum is pretty boring. I mean, we had a huge volatile candle. Look at this wick. We went down to 3.5K following the exact announcement of the 19B4 approval. Ethereum didn't take it so well. But my theory is, in terms of price analysis, I think Ethereum will continue to pump until we reach the actual ETF launch. So I am holding my long position on Ethereum until the actual launch day because Ethereum should hopefully continue pumping until that deadline. But in the meantime, we'll probably have a consolidation, or we may end up either barting out. This could be a BART pattern, or Ethereum trends and then we create lower highs and then we go eventually towards the downside and then we continue up. I mean, it's pretty hard to speculate at this point. I'm just holding my long position and I'll kind of wait out and see what happens until the ETF gets approved. Looking at orange juice, I mean, this is mind blowing. Like, we were joking about this for so long on the channel, and we actually called, funnily enough, this bullish pennant when it was around here. So if you guys were able to trade orange juice, I don't know how the hell to do it. If I did, I would be a millionaire today. You would be up actually 27%. And no, this is not some random meme coin. This is literally orange juice. So yeah, I don't know what to say. We predicted this. Was it any use? I don't know. If you were able to trade it, let me know in the comments, but I was not able to because I have no clue on how to trade orange juice contracts. Somebody tell me, and then we can make even more money than we do in crypto, and potentially I can rename my channel to Orange Juice Kid. Who knows? Who knows? And finally, I FOMO'd into a long position for Solana. I said I was waiting for this support line, or ideally 157. It looked like Bitcoin was confirming the breakout. I probably jumped the gun here a little bit with Solana, but it's okay. Even if we reverse down to 157, I will probably stay in this long position and keep it as a position trade and take profit at 207. And finally, the Dixie, which is the dollar index, it is having a little bit of a fall. That is the reason why Bitcoin is trying to push towards the upside. We could be forming a bear flag here on the Dixie, and that could ultimately end up forming a head and shoulders pattern. That would be incredible because if the dollar loses in value, then of course it will be inversely correlated to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin would continue rising. So that would be for the benefit of Bitcoin overall. But now that we've covered all of the Bitcoin price analysis, we can finally get into the breaking news, which is the 19B4 getting approved. But what is the 19B4? What are the expectations? When is the deadline, etc.? We have a lot to cover, so bear with me. There's a lot of news about Solana potentially getting an ETF, but look, this is not the case. I will debunk it for you in just a second. But the first thing is first. I mean, the SEC approving the Ethereum ETF is a complete 180-degree change. Nobody expected it. Everyone was expecting a no-go for Ethereum. I mean, people were even calling out the SEC to potentially classify Ethereum as a security even this week, but that did not happen. We had a 180-degree turn, and James Seyfarth, who we love, and we read his analysis all the time, and I've had the pleasure of having him twice on the channel now. He mentioned that it was definitely influenced by political parties. And the reason is, I mean, if we look at the facts, I mean, Trump's poll went higher after the Mar-a-Lago speech, which he gave about NFTs and cryptocurrency. So his polling data actually went significantly higher after he talked about cryptocurrencies. And we can also see that President Biden's veto did not come through for the SAB 121, which enables banks and financial institutions to hold Bitcoin as custody. So that he said he was going to veto it, but he did not. The FIT21 bill passed, changing crypto regulation forever. We talked a lot about it. I would definitely recommend watching yesterday's video to understand the FIT21 bill because it affects every single cryptocurrency you know of, and it will be super beneficial to understand in your investing into different crypto projects. So I'll put a card. Make sure to watch it after the end of this video. And finally, the truth is there are more single issue pro-crypto voters compared to anti-crypto voters, meaning there's a lot of pro-crypto people who will just vote based off of this one thing, which is approving the crypto bill or being bullish in crypto overall, compared to the anti-crypto people that will vote for the administration that is anti-crypto, if that makes sense. So all of these things are super important, keeping in mind that 51 million people in the US own crypto. That is a huge majority. That's like almost 20% of the US population. So it is super important for polling data. That is why it's normal that we're seeing the White House kind of, changing their position on crypto in a 180-degree turn and basically influencing the SEC and the CFTC to come together and make this thing happen. And with that said, I mean, it's funny because, technically the SEC and the Fed, they should be okay. This is not going to work here. We're going to have to stay on this chart or this view here because that camera is too far away. I moved up my screens, so I will change that after the video. But anyways, I mean, the SEC and the Fed should be independent organizations, not being impacted by political pressure, and should is the word that we should emphasize in this phrase because clearly they are getting influenced very heavily, especially going into the election cycle. As a matter of fact, in the last Ethereum ETF vote, Cherry Gensler was the deciding vote to say no, Ethereum ETFs will not be passed. And this time round, it looks like they have all of a sudden. So yeah, it is a little bit interesting. Mark Cuban also mentioned that there is pressure from the White House, hence we're seeing the ETF approval for Ethereum. Now, the deadlines is the most important thing, arguably, and just to kind of put something to get your attention, because I know you all have the dopamine of a TikToker. So let's put the price chart. At least you can have some gameplay of price action while I explain you this, because it is important. You need to know about this so that you can approach crypto and Ethereum if you're investing in Ethereum and different altcoins in the right way. So the deadlines for the actual ETF launch is between 4 to 6 weeks, and that is because the S1 filings, which we again talked about in more detail, they have a comment period of, so basically one comment period is equivalent to 2 weeks, and usually we see 2 to 3 rounds of commenting, and that would give us again a 4 to 6 week deadline, taking us to just before summer, which would be ideal because in summer we have holidays and people go for they take a break, and this thing would be pushed until the end of August or even the start of September possibly. So it is very good for Ethereum to hopefully get that approval pre-July. That is the aim here. And keep in mind, I mean, Bitcoin took from October to January. That was a 3 to 4 month period. I think this time around, with the nature of things, I think it will be much, much more quicker because the 19B4s were submitted in June, and then we had October until the S1s came in. With Ethereum, it is a lot faster. So I think the overall process will probably take a lot less in time. But let's go into the expectations about, I mean, how much money is actually going to go into these Ethereum ETFs, how to benchmark it properly, and where should we set our kind of vision? Will Ethereum get impacted in a good way, or will Ethereum just wipe all the gains that it produced over the past few days? Well, the truth is, we're expecting around 10 to 20% of the total net flows from Bitcoin to enter as separate capital into Ethereum, not assets under management, because of course GBTC had like 30 billion with Bitcoin when it started off, so it would be unfair to count that. But what we can look at is total net flows. So in the first few weeks or first 2-3 months, we should be looking at anywhere from like $2 to $3 billion for Ethereum, and that would be incredibly successful. The reason why it will be incredibly successful is simply because, I mean, IBIT was the record-breaking ETF to reach $10 billion worth of inflows. And, that record was set in a period of 49 days, whereas the second best position ETF was 3 years. So 49 days to 3 years. Meaning even a 10 or 20% performance will still mark an incredibly successful ETF launch. So even a 10-20% expectation is super bullish, but unfortunately, I think the crypto market will get disappointed by that number and we should have a dump. But again, going up towards the actual launch of the ETF, however long it takes, it's better for Ethereum. I think Ethereum will continue rising. We'll probably have a dump, just like what Bitcoin did following the ETF launch right around here. So we went down from 47 to 38K, but we continue to rise because huge amounts of institutions started coming into Bitcoin, pension funds, etc., which are here to hold for a long amount of time and not necessarily sell as soon as the price dips. And that should be great for Ethereum's future performance. Hence, I'm bullish on the macro. But, kind of to end things off, if we look at Ethereum as a token, the token itself has more utilitarian value compared to Bitcoin. You can do more things with the Ethereum token compared to the things that you can do with Bitcoin. You can, buy NFTs or build NFTs, etc. You can get staking rewards, which is something that you can't do with Bitcoin. Hence, the overall demand for Bitcoin versus Ethereum ETFs will of course be more biased because, if let's say an investor wants to hold Bitcoin, they can go for a Bitcoin ETF without missing out on anything. But if they choose to invest in the Ethereum ETF, well, they're missing out on staking. So it makes the Ethereum ETF less desirable. And keep in mind, like Ethereum as a concept, it's super hard to explain to somebody. Like, if you were to explain Bitcoin, okay, digital store of wealth, hedge against inflation, digital scarcity, like you can explain it to someone. But if you go into Ethereum, once you enter that road, it is pretty tough to go into and convince people that this is a interesting thing. So until we see staking being implemented into the ETFs, which will require essentially a new administration, because the current administration is complete no-go. If we see President Trump taking over, then we could be getting potentially staking into the Ethereum ETF, and that would increase the kind of demand we have overall, because yield generation is a new thing, and that would interest the people in finance. But if we look at the current state, we're probably not going to get altcoin ETFs. I think Dogecoin out of them all is probably the most likely to get an ETF next, not Solana, because, well, if we look at Dogecoin, Coinbase is already pressuring for a Dogecoin CME futures ETF, and that is the process. You need a CME futures ETF first to be able to get a spot ETF. What is a CME futures? It's the the Bitcoin one sign. You have the CME futures contract that has been launched in 2017. You need at least like 2 to 3 years, which is what Ethereum had, of proven price history and direct correlation down to the 1 minute time frame. Because if you have a low liquidity token, like some random token that gets manipulated by price easily, and you go down to the 1 minute correlation, it's going to be off. So the SEC will definitely say, no, we're not going to have a spot ETF. That's why a more liquid token, a token with more demand, and essentially a token that is well known is required. And I think with Bitcoin and Ethereum, Dogecoin is that third role in terms of recognition overall in the cryptocurrency space. But that wraps up my prediction and analysis for Ethereum. I hope it was easy to understand. I'm trying to squeeze it into as small of a time frame as possible. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I will answer to the best of my ability. But to end this video off, unfortunately, while speaking about Dogecoin, the face of Dogecoin, Kobosu, I hope I'm saying her name correct. She unfortunately passed away at 18 years old. So may she rest in power. She gave hope, and she gave a lot of wealth to millions of people across the world. So may she rest in peace. Yeah, she's definitely left her impact on the world. And finally, there was a bill passed for banning CBDCs in the United States, which is incredible because it is very unconstitutional. With the ban of CBDCs and it failing elsewhere, like for example in China, yes, maybe in the long term, it will be harder for people to understand the value of Bitcoin, because if we had CBDCs, people will be like, okay, what the hell is happening here? But it's good in the short term because, well, it's giving financial freedom to more people across the world. But guys and girls, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great weekend. Bitcoin should not be too volatile over the next 48 hours or so. So enjoy your weekend, and I will be seeing you all hopefully on Monday, but we may even meet earlier. Let's see what the price does. Take care, guys, and bye-bye.